Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, it is 2:16 a.m. and I am ready for a Diet Coke. How are you guys doing this evening? I tried to take a nap a little bit earlier, but I just could not fall asleep to save my life. I just kept on tossing and turning and tossing and turning. I was like really warm. Is it? Oh, it says it's 72. It cannot be that warm. It was nice today, but it wasn't that nice outside. What is the temperature outside? Let's see what it says. It says the temperature is 59 degrees. Well, it was warm upstairs in our house tonight. And I had the fan blasting on me, but that just still didn't seem to be doing anything. So I finally just got up. I was like, well, it is what it is. So I will, see what the temperature is gonna be like the next couple days. I think it's supposed to rain. Tuesday, 75 on Tuesday with 20% chance of rain. Wednesday, 60 degrees with 70% chance of rain. Thursday, 56 with 40% chance of rain. And then Friday the 1st, 64. And then it goes 77, 70, 68, 60, 56, 59, 63. So it's pretty nice going forward. Okay, I'm fine with that. When is that 77 degree day? That's on Saturday. That's gonna be amazing. So how are you guys doing today? You doing good? I've had a good day today. I've just felt real kind of like calm and I wouldn't necessarily say like as peaceful and serene as I always felt. I mean, I feel peaceful and I feel serene. I just felt kind of blah today, if that makes sense. Like I just didn't feel really a whole lot one way or the other. And I got up today and made my coffee and got some stuff done. And then let's see, I ordered some stuff to be delivered tomorrow from the grocery that I needed. And then I filmed several videos. I made a drama video, and I made a Peterisms video, and then I made a booktube video, and then I was gonna do a review video of the strawberry, like, seeds. I don't really know what they are, but Alex had spent the whole day. He got up, and he did the entire walkway and the back of our yard, like, cleaning it all up and de-weeding it today, which was really, really nice. So I was gonna do it out there, but he was still working out there when I was gonna film that video, so. And then I was wrapping up my videos at the same time that he was getting ready to come inside and take a shower because he was doing like this Zoom call with some of his girlfriends that he works with at 7, and then I had my book reading that I do for my recovery friends that we do every Monday night. That was at 8. And so I tried to lay down a little bit while when he started his like Zoom call. He started it actually outside because he knew that I was going to be doing mine inside at 8. And I tried to lay down for a little bit. My head was really hurting early this afternoon to kind of like when I did my meeting time, and it wouldn't go away. But I couldn't fall asleep then either. Last night I slept for crap last night. I just could not fall asleep. I don't know what is going on that I can't fall asleep. So, what did I do last night? Well, I didn't start a new book. I didn't start a new audiobook. I went in and I watched like 2 or 3 more episodes of Schitt's Creek. I think I'm on like episode 6 or 7 now I think I'm actually on episode 7 of season 3. I'm really, 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 really loving that show. I love it so much. And, yeah, that's been my exciting day. Oh, and then Alex was doing his Zoom call still when I got done with my Zoom call. So I made dinner, and I had a a cheese sandwich, and tomato soup. And I watched an episode and a half of Schitt's Creek. I love that show. I just absolutely love it. I'm gonna be sad when it's over though. So I did that, and yeah, And I think actually I may have watched like 2.5 episodes. I don't know. It depends on what episode I'm on. I'm like powering through the 3rd season. And that was when I tried to lay down a little bit. And I couldn't fall asleep. I just tossed and turned. Where is my Netflix? There it is, my Netflix. Don't you think it's hard to like recommend a show to somebody? I feel like I have people that, I'm on episode 7. I'm halfway through it almost. Don't you think it's hard to recommend shows to people? Like, I have people that recommend shows to me all the time. Like this show Afterlife, I have had so many people recommend me shows. And I feel like, kind of, like when you recommend a show to somebody, it's kind of personal. I know that sounds corny, but it is kind of personal because you have like a personal response to that show, right? And so you are not going to probably recommend a show that you don't like, you know what I mean? Whereas like I think each person likes their own things. Like Caroline and I were talking about this the other night. Of course I feel like I see something behind my car. Caroline and I were talking about this, my cousin Caroline, the other day, about like she and I watch almost the same shows and read the same books. Like we enjoy the same, and the things that we don't like are very, very similar. So for Caroline to give me a recommendation or for me to give her one recommendation would make a lot of sense, right? But I feel like so many people give me personal recommendations and then like friends of mine, and they're like, have you seen this? Have you seen, what was the show that everybody keeps on telling me to watch? I can't remember what everybody keeps on telling me to watch. But they don't say, like, you should watch it. I know you, like, you would love this show. They're like, oh, I love this show, you should watch it. Like, it's so good, you should watch it, right? But, like, just because a show is fantastic doesn't mean that, like, everybody in the world's gonna love it. You know, like, what was I watching the other day? And I was like, Tanya asked me about it, and she's like, well, what did you think? And I said, you wouldn't like it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you kind of know those things for your friends. What oh, I was telling her about the Southern Book Club's Guide to Vampires. Like, she would have loved the character development about the women, but she would have had no interest in the vampire stuff whatsoever. She would have been like, yeah, I'm like, this book is not for me. Like, I don't like it. And she would have said it was too violent. And so I was like, well, I wish that stuff hadn't been in there because the book is so good. And I mean, I enjoyed reading that part of it, but like, you know, I was like, if that wasn't in there, then you would love that book. And then she was telling me about some show, and she was like, yeah, Eric and I were watching this show. She's like, but I don't, she's like, it's really good. She's like, but I don't think that you'd like it. So I always think it's interesting when people, you know, give you suggestions about shows. I think it's so hard, you know? I can kind of look at a show and tell you, like, if I'm gonna like it or not. Like, just by, like, looking at it. Well, I'll tell you a show I'm really, really struggling with, and every single one of my friends loved it, is Mindhunter. I don't know why. I'm on episode 2. I actually, when I finish Schitt's Creek, I need to start watching Mindhunter, or I'm gonna have to go back through and watch those first 2 episodes again. I'm at the end of the 2nd episode. Like, just finished this. Like, I started it, like, what, before I went to Arizona, and I haven't watched any of it since. I just cannot get into that show. I don't know what it is. Alex watched it. He loved it. Mel watched it. She loved it. Tanya watched it. She loved it. Everybody that I know, my other sober friend that's into true crime, she loved it. Caroline loved it. Everybody that I know loves it. I have such a hard time getting into it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. So anyway, yeah, that was my day. It wasn't super exciting. Soup exciting. But it was just a beautiful day outside. It wasn't like beautiful, like sunny, shiny beautiful, but the temperature was nice and we had the windows open all day today, which was nice. I ordered just a bunch of stupid stuff for tomorrow that I need to get me through the rest of the week. With fingers crossed, me starting healthy lifestyle changes on Monday. I'm actually not gonna, the first is Friday. I'm not gonna start it on Friday. I'm not gonna do that to myself on a weekend where my husband's gonna be sitting around here eating pizza rolls. So I'm gonna start it on Monday. I'm gonna try to exercise every day and eat healthy and all that kind of stuff. And all that jazz. Yeah. Oh, and I've been waiting for that new John Grisham book to come out today on Audible. I mean, it's 2:26 a.m. I thought it would be out by now. I wonder what time it comes out. I'm gonna look it up right now and see. It's Camino Island. I don't, it's, the sequel is called Camino Winds. See, it says add to library, 1 credit. I already have it here, 1 credit. Release date, April 28th, 2020. Isn't tomorrow the 28th? Or isn't, I mean, today, as I'm like, I mean, yeah. Let's look this up. I bet somebody has put this on the Google. What time are books released? Oh my God, it is on here. On, well, pulled it up a second ago, on Audible. It always says the book will release at midnight in your time zone, but in reality, it's always midnight Pacific Standard Time. Okay, which will be, well, isn't that like 3 hours behind us? And all that jazz. Well, it's a pre-order, so it should just go in there. Because people are asking about these pre-orders. Okay, what time is that in California? LA time. Let's see what LA time is right now. Is it 3 hours behind or 4 hours behind? 11:28. So they're 3 hours behind us. I should have known that with talking to Mel. I mean, Mel's not in LA, but... So the book should be available in a half an hour. Whoo, whoo, Dr. Detroit. Whoo, whoo. I'm excited. I can't wait to start reading it. And then when I was going to start that Dead Ends last night, but I didn't. So, or I was going to start that Horror Store. So that'll be the 3 books that I'm going to read this week, if I can get all 3 of them in. But definitely I'm going to start Camino Winds. And then after that, I will probably read... Oh, I don't know. I'll either read... I might read Horror Store and then do Dead Ends, because Dead Ends will be the book that takes me into May 1st. Well, I don't even know that I'll be able to get all that done in time before May 1st, because May 1st is Friday. So that's 3 days of book reading. I guess it just depends on how fast I go. But I've been really excited about this book coming out, so... I got a message from Sarah, and Sarah says she watches my vlogs. Hold on a second. I think she said she watches my vlogs. And it is her 21st birthday on Wednesday, on Wednesday, April 29th. It's her 21st birthday. So I want to wish Sarah a very happy birthday to you, Sarah. Happy birthday, Sarah. I hope you have a great 21st birthday. I think it would be really, really hard to have a 21st birthday. I mean, unless you're a not drinker, but to have a non-drinker, to have a 21st birthday, like, at home, you know what I mean? Like, part of the excitement, although, you know, I don't, do people go out as much as they used to go out? Do people go out, like, for their 21st birthday and stuff as much as they used to? Like, when I was when I was turned 21, that was like a rite of passage, even though I had had a fake ID forever. It was kind of a rite of passage that you went out for your 21st birthday, you know, and you got, like, the bucket drink or whatever they had at whatever special bar, the special shot. And, you know, you would go out, like, midnight. Like, if, let's say... tomorrow, as I'm doing this, let's say Tuesday is my birthday, I would have gone out already tonight, like at midnight. When it turned 21, I would have, like, gone out with my, you know what I mean? And then you would have gone out on your actual birthday too. Do you remember that? Like, we used to do that back in the day. People don't seem to do that as much anymore. Or maybe they do and I'm just not aware of it. I just don't hear, like, my friends say, like, that their kids are, you know what I mean, going out for their 21st birthdays, and I just don't really seem to hear people talk about that much anymore. So maybe people don't go out for their 21st birthdays. But when I was 21, that was like a big deal. I do actually remember what I did for my 21st birthday. I don't remember going to like having a party with my mom or my aunt and uncle or going out to dinner. I don't remember any of that, okay? But I do remember that one of my friends arranged, this guy that I was friends with back in the day, he arranged a dinner at this restaurant called Amici's downtown. And this is when I was really good friends, I lived with the girl that now lives in Germany. And so she and I and like 5 other people went to Amici's. And then I can't remember where else we went, but it must have been on a Wednesday night. I feel like my 21st birthday was on a Wednesday night because we ended up going to the patio and they had penny beer night. So I feel like it was a Wednesday night at the patio. I should look it up and see. June 29th. What year would that have been? 93? 1993. Was it a Wednesday? It was a Tuesday, so that would have made sense because then that we would have gone out to dinner, and then I bet at midnight was when we went and did that. Oh no! It was Tuesday, so that Wednesday, we would have gone to the patio. I don't know why I remember that. Why we did it I don't remember why, but we went to the patio, which is now, if you live in Indianapolis and you ever go to Broad Ripple, it's called like Lavo Lounge or something like that in Broad Ripple, but back then it was a patio, and it was a really famous bar here in Indianapolis. And it was this total hole in the wall. And like Wednesday nights they had, maybe it was a Monday night they had penny beer night. It was either a Monday or a Wednesday. I think it was, but maybe we went like at midnight on a Monday. And so I would have been turning 21 at that Tuesday. I honestly don't remember. But that's really all I remember about my 21st birthday. I mean, it just really was, to be honest with you, I remember not being real excited about it because I was like, I've been going out and partying since I was like 18 years old. So like, this is nothing to me to go out. Like, I wasn't real excited about it. It was like no big deal, you know? And in fact, I can kind of remember thinking, like, doormen would have said things to me like, oh, so you've had a fake for like the last 3 years. And like, nobody said anything. Like, I do remember that like nobody said anything to me about having had a fake ID for like, you know, 3 years. But whatever. Yeah, it just wasn't real exciting. But I was also, at that point, I was like such a heavy drinker at that point. Like, I wasn't like your run-of-the-mill or garden variety drunk. I mean, I was, you know, or alcoholic. I was like hardcore at that point. So it wasn't really so much just about me going out anymore. I don't know. Isn't it funny? I kind of don't remember what I did for my birthdays. Like, I remember my 16th birthday. I went to California with my dad and my stepmom, and we flew into San Francisco, and then we drove down the coast from San Francisco, and then we went to, what's that area called? Where all the wineries are, like Carmel, California, but Big Sur. We went to Big Sur, and we stayed at this place out there that my dad and my stepmom love. I actually saw Daniel Prada, Joey Graceffa's boyfriend, stayed there one night. My dad and my stepmom love this place, and it's called, oh shoot. It's like these luxury cabin deals in the woods, and it's like all natural. Ventana, I think it's called. And we stayed there, and then we went to Big Sur and stayed somewhere, and we saw like the seals and stuff. And then we stayed in Montecito, California, and then we drove the whole coast all the way down to LA, and we stayed in LA. And I really like was into like movie stars and all that kind of stuff, so I wanted to, like, you know, I'd never been to like Hollywood and LA, and we went and did that. And yeah, and that was my 16th birthday. And then I remember we flew home and my dad brought me to my mom's house. I remember pulling up to the house and it was like pitch black and we got in at like 10 o'clock at night or whatever. And my mom had like this surprise party with like 6 of my friends and I was not happy about it. I've never liked surprise parties. I don't like to be on the spot like that. And I remember just being like real pissed about it. I feel bad about that, like in retrospect, because my mom forever talked about how, like, for her 16th birthday, like, my grandma had invitations made, and, all the girls, it was like 16 of my mom would always say, it was 16 of my closest friends. I was like, who has 16 close friends? You know what I mean? But my mom was like, it was 16 of my closest friends, and we had a sweet 16 birthday party, and they had it at Hollyhock Hill, which is in Broad Ripple, which is like family-style cooking. I've talked about that on here, because we went there for, I think, Easter last year. What did we do that? Was it Thanksgiving, maybe? We did it for Thanksgiving, and Caroline and I were so disappointed in how it was now. It was just not as great as it used to be. And, but my mom had her 16th birthday party there, which I always thought was kind of a weird place to have a 16th birthday party. But anyway, and she's like, I came home and Mother had a party dress for me in a box and I put it on and we went to dinner and I showed up and 16 of my closest girlfriends were there. I was like, okay, Mom. She always thought it was like, so. She always thought like, you know, you should do something big for your 16th birthday party. So that's what I did. I showed up and my mom had like friends of mine over and she had like a cake and like soda and like a cooler, and she did the best she could. I don't know, I just feel bad. Like, she knew like if she did anything I wasn't gonna like it, and she knew if she didn't do anything that I'd probably be like, why didn't you do it? I think she felt bad. So that was my 16th birthday party. And then my 18th birthday party, I totally don't remember, except for that we got absolutely all of my friends and I just rip-roaring drunk the night before. And I also, like, one of my very best friends from high school, she and I had the same birthday, except for she's a year behind me. And I remember she and I, like, I picked her up on our birthday, and we were doing like a birthday lunch with all of our friends. I don't know why we picked this place to go to lunch, but we went to MCL Cafeteria. Do they have them all over, or is it just in Indianapolis? MCL's like kind of like a chain here in Indianapolis, but it's a cafeteria where you like go through and they have like roast beef and like, you know, fried chicken and mashed potatoes, and it's kind of expensive too, which is funny to me that we went there, but I don't know why we went there. I have no idea. But we went to MCL, and I just remember thinking to myself that I was going to vomit the whole time because I was so hungover from the night before. It was so bad. And, yeah, I don't remember 30. I don't remember 30 at all. I feel like my ex and I went somewhere kind of special for my 30th. But I don't remember. And I don't remember my 40th. Isn't that so weird that I don't remember my 40th? So 40 would have been 2012. I mean, I really don't remember what I did in June 2012. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could probably go through and look it up. It would have been a trip that Alex and I would have taken, but I have no idea where we would have gone in 2012. What were some of our first trips that we took? I mean, it wouldn't have been a lavish trip. Like we take some pretty nice trips now. And we hadn't been to... I don't think we did anything for my birthday when I turned 40. That seems kind of weird to me, that we didn't do anything for my birthday. What did I do for my 40th? Do you know what sounds so strange? Is I kind of feel like Alex said to me, like, what do you want to do this year? Because for a long time, like, Alex would always have, like, a big birthday party. He'd invite, like, 40 people, and he would do a sit-down dinner, and then he would do, like, go out, and he would get a VIP section. That was Alex's always go-to for his birthdays. And we didn't travel for our birthdays. We were always here, because Alex wanted to be here, right? You know? Our birthday's, like, a week apart. I feel like for my 40th, well, one year for my birthday, Alex and I, Tanya, and my friend Liz and I, we all went to the casino. That was one birthday, but I don't feel like that was my 40th. I honestly do not know what we did, but I do know that one year, this is so corny, but it was like one of my best birthdays. Alex said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to go see a double feature at the movie theater. And we started this. I did this like every year for a couple years. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I want to go to see a double feature at the movie theater, and then I want to get Steak and Shake in between. Steak and Shake's like kind of like this restaurant here in Indianapolis that has like Frisco melts and patty melts. It's kind of like modeled after like a 50s, like, you know, burger diner kind of place. Like Pops in Riverdale or something like that. And I was like, but all black, white, and red. And then I was like, and I want to go see a double feature, and then I want a piece of pecan pie afterwards. And so we did that for like 3 years in a row. So maybe that was one of my 40th. I honestly don't remember. I really don't. But I do want to do something for my 50th. I do want to do something and kind of like, well, hopefully, you know, we can travel and do that kind of stuff. But I'd really like to do something where we go somewhere big deal. This year, I'm kind of resigned to the fact of like, you know, we were going to try to do something for our birthdays, like Mexico, or we were going to do an island in the Caribbean or something like that. But like money is so tight at this point that even if we could travel to those places, we wouldn't travel to those places, you know? So like the trips that I would really like to take, if we could take some trips this year, I would really like to do like a long weekend in Miami, like 4 or 5 days in Miami. I'd like to do a long weekend in Las Vegas, like 4 days, 4 or 5 days. And then I'd like to do a long weekend in San Diego and visit my brother-in-law and his girlfriend again. I'd love to visit Susie, too, for a long weekend. But other than that, like, I don't feel the need to, like, go anywhere. I don't necessarily know how I feel about leaving the country right now. But I don't even know if we can, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I haven't looked into any of that. But I'm also not, I don't feel really comfortable getting on a plane anytime soon. We had a friend of ours that, like, was posting pictures and stuff, and I was like, that, like, went out of town for the weekend, and I was like, this is, like, not from Indianapolis, but from somewhere else, and I was like, I can't believe that you're comfortable enough to, like, get on a plane and, like, go out of town for the weekend. Like, I'm not sure I would feel that comfortable with it, but I know a lot of people really do. I know people are starting to think about like Airbnbs and whatever. And that was the other thing that, you know, Alex and I might do that, is like rent an Airbnb and drive somewhere. We've talked actually about that a lot since I brought it up originally. He's totally down to do that. The thing is that some of these Airbnbs that are in like Destin and areas, what is that lip balm? There it is. Destin and like Anne Marie Island and St. Petersburg, around there, because that's like a good distance. Like, we can do that. That's like 11-hour drive, 12-hour drive. It's not too bad. Some of those are really, really expensive, like super expensive, because I kind of like to have something like I had before. Now, I don't need a huge house like I had before. I would love it, but I don't need it. But I would like to have a house that has like a private pool with it. I don't care if it's on the beach, just a house that has a private pool. You know, 2-bedroom house with a private pool. I don't care how it's decorated. I don't care, just like a private pool that we can sit at, you know, in case we can't go to the beach or whatever, and then I can just sit at the pool all day long. I would be so fine to just be able to go and lay out by the pool all day long, take a nap in the afternoon, you know, make some big salad or a cheese sandwich for lunch, and then like get up and, you know, take a shower and be all romantical, and then like watch a movie or two in the evening. I would be completely fine with that as a vacation. I think that would be an amazing vacation. I would love that. So, I don't know, we're gonna have to look more into that. The reality is that even if we could travel again the way that, like, I mean, even if health-wise we could travel again the way that, you know, we had traveled before, I don't financially think that we could probably afford it this year, you know? So, I don't know. I'm kind of thankful, honestly, that we didn't go on our trips before, like that our trips got, like we had to cancel them because those were some big trips that we were taking, you know, before everything kind of got shut down. So I'm sad that we didn't get to go, but I'm like, well, we saved a lot of money, you know. It's gonna stop, hold on. And so I feel like it's kind of a blessing in disguise. Well, especially the Miami trip, because if we had ended up going to that Miami trip, what is crazy is I cannot tell you how close we got to going on that trip. I mean, we were canceling the trip, but we were like at the last second, we're like, I can remember we were talking and we were like, rates are so low. Like, this is stupid. Like, we could literally stay anywhere we want to stay in Miami. Like, rates are so low. And I remember Alex was like, we need to do the responsible thing. And I was like, yeah, I totally agree with you. And it was literally like 3 days later, they closed the beaches in Miami. Although everybody still stayed partying down there, you know. But if we had gone to Miami, like, they would have flown us in there, you know? But then we would have been, I don't know if the hotels are closed. I don't think the hotels are closed in Miami. So we would have been stuck just sitting in a hotel room 24 hours. I mean, can you even imagine? And paying a lot of money for that? Like, that would suck. Not being able to go to the pool, not being able to do, I don't know if the pools are open down there. I can't imagine they are. They're closing the beaches, but are they closing? I would have to imagine that they're closing the pools. My neighbors have these tulips over here. They're absolutely beautiful. I keep on like bending down and smelling them during the day. And the other day I was like, what if a bee flies into my nose or into my face? Because there's like a bee inside of one of them. If there was. But anyway, there wasn't. But one of them over here, this white one, keeps on like blowing kind of in the wind. Well, they're all blowing in the wind right now, but and it's so pretty, but it keeps on catching my eye, and I think there's like something moving over there, which is crazy because all of us have these motion detector lights around our house, and like if anything goes like blows over there, their motion detector lights go up. So if there was anything over there, their motion detector lights would be on, but I'm not taking any chances. So anyway, isn't that weird? I don't remember what I did for my 40th birthday. Must have been so astronomical that, you know, I don't remember. Oh well. Let's go in and look at some comments from the video today. "10 minutes until my book is released." Why am I so excited about it? It's so corny, isn't it? Okay. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, I need to go into the comments. Tonka Garfield said, "Thank you for the vlogs, Peter. I do tend to listen at night, either at my work or mostly when I take my long showers. Your vlogs and nightly, I love yous that you say at the end of your vlogs really help me out. Thank you." Oh, thank you. I actually, in my Peterisms video today, I talked about that kind of at length. Magic Me said, "My dog gets bored if we just go for a regular walk. They have to be training walks. Otherwise, he starts looking for ways to entertain himself. No calm strolls for us, LOL." Well, Boo and Tucker, I don't know that they would know how to do training walks. I don't even know that I know what a training walk is, so we'll just move on because I don't think they would know what to do. Hearts from Elizabeth and Jackson 5 Family Vlogs. I like that name. Sarah said, "You always brighten my day up and make all my stresses go away. Love you, Peter. So grateful for you." Is that the same Sarah that's having the 21st birthday? Hold on a second. No. I mean, it could be if she has a different last name on here than she does on, but I don't think so. Okay. Jonna said, okay, last night, I love when people start with okay, because I do that all the time. Okay, last night I finished listening to Camino Island. I will also watch your vlog, so when I finally went to sleep, I dreamed we were out solving crimes. It was a lot of fun. I woke up and just shook my head over it all. LOL, I love that. That's so funny. Okay. Kathy said, would you be able to post a link to the linen sprays? The linen with lemon sounded really nice. I actually think they might be in my Amazon store. Hold on a second. Peter, if you go underneath my Peter review stuff, maybe enter my vlog, I don't know. So I have like an Amazon store with like things that I review or whatever, things that I like. I post in there, and you don't have to buy it. It's just kind of like a reference place. But it does say underneath here, most of the items I discussed on here will be found in my Amazon store. If you purchase from this link, I do make a small compensation. And when I say small, I mean very small. I think I may have listed them over there, but I'm not sure. Oh yeah, I do actually. It says items from Peter's review stuff. And so if you go underneath the items from Peter's review stuff, it's the fourth thing down. And it is like if I didn't post another one, it's the only one I could find. It is the Caldera Pear Blossom Agave, and it is currently $12. And it's really good, and I sprayed it on my sheets tonight. And I sprayed the other two sprays, actually, I got at Bed Bath & Beyond. One of them is called, it's just like a lavender spray that I got from Bed Bath & Beyond. And then it was like right by all the sheets. They had two different, and then they had like, and it's like a fat bottle, the cotton one. And it's called Cotton Linen Breeze or something. It's different than like just linen. Like, you know when they have like candles and stuff that are like clean cotton or clean linen, it's different than that. I don't know how to, I'll have to look on the bottle and see what it's called, because it's better than that. It's better than that. So anyway, do you guys watch Schitt's Creek? I love Patrick so much. Can I just tell you that? Alex, he keeps on asking me, he's like, who do you think you are on Schitt's Creek? And I really actually think that well, there's pieces of me that are David. I'm not Eugene Levy at all. I'm Stevie a lot. I'm Ted a lot. And I think I'm Patrick a lot. It's kind of interesting when you watch the show. I'm definitely not Moira. Although she's great. She's fantastic. But if you watch Schitt's Creek, who do you think you are? Anyway, 30 facts you didn't know about Roseanne. I bet I know all of them. 30 about the Roseanne TV show. I'm like reading the thing as we go. See, like the video is going and I'm like reading like the subtitles. Here are 30 facts you didn't know about Roseanne. Do I have to spell it out for you? Macaulay Culkin auditioned for the part of DJ. Yeah, I already knew that. And had he been cast, it would have been his big break, as Home Alone was released 2 years later instead. Michael Fishman got the role, replacing Sal Barone from the pilot. Number 2. Feature openly gay characters, something that she had to fight for. Network protests, she insisted on featuring gay characters as friends. They're showing the episode when Leon gets married, and she has a very gay wedding with like Liza's and drag queen. That was hilarious. Okay. So she fought for gay rights to have them on there. I feel like I knew that. I mean, from just watching the show, right? That was such a great episode, by the way. Come on, what's 3? This is mostly just clips of the show, is what it is. 3, John Goodman and Laurie Metcalf were cast because of their background and acting. Roseanne had never acted before, so the producers hoped that surrounding her with a strong supporting cast would give her... I didn't know that, actually. Anyway, who'd care? I miss the show. I miss it when it was good. Like the Connors, I don't watch. I think it's stupid. Anyway. So, Kathy, there are the linen sprays. Dane said, I just got House of Leaves today, and I'm just getting to chapter 2 now. So far, so good. Also, tonight I mixed an onion soup packet with sour cream for my potato chips, and it was orgasmic, family friendly. So I may or may not have ordered, in my grocery delivery, Lipton's onion soup plus sour cream to make the dip for my review channel. We may be doing that on my review channel. We'll have to see. Okay. Anyway, Hanu Lover said, instead of making a cooking channel, how about showing us how Alex enjoying cooking and maybe you cook something you like too on your vlog a bit? We could do that. But it like gets really long on a vlog because like the stuff that we like, his cooking process is kind of long and involved and lots of items. So it would be kind of funny to do it as a review video, I think. Emily said, I had a great, very peaceful Sunday too. Haven't had one of those in a long time, and it was just what I needed. Doing this whole quarantine thing alone has been tough to say the least, but hearing you talk and process things out loud makes me feel like I'm talking to a close friend. Even though we may be in different boats, we're still all riding through the same storm. Yeah, my friend Tanya cannot stand when people are like, we're all going through the same thing. And she's like, yeah, except for that you're a celebrity sitting in a $10 million house and you're in a pool every day and I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, it is kind of hard sometimes to see that, but I think people just mean the best. You know what I mean? I have this song stuck in my head and it's driving me crazy. And it's this, I don't even know why it's stuck in my head, but it's that prima donna girl. Why is that song stuck in my head? Do you know what I'm talking about? I don't even know what her name is. I can't even remember what her name is. I have the song. What you want from me? That song. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's such a dumb song. Marina and the Diamonds. I never even liked the song. I don't know why I downloaded the song. Anyway, I did. And there you have it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, I know what I wanted to check and see. I wanted to see if you can buy the Simply the Best version from Schitt's Creek. Is there like a Schitt's Creek? I bought one song called Precious Love off of Schitt's Creek and I love it. Is there like a Schitt's Creek soundtrack? There should be if there's not. Hold on. Why can't I type today? Okay. No. No. Why is it this? What was, I think it was called, I think it's the Simply the Best. Do you guys know that song? I love that song so much by Tina Turner. Oh, it is on here. Oh my God, I totally am buying it right now. 99 cents. You're simply the best, better than I wanted to. Do you guys remember that song? You're simply the best. I love Tina Turner so much. But I have one thing to say, Tina. This is my question for you. What's love got to do with it? You're simply the best. What's another Tina Turner song? Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. Have you ever seen that part of the, of Miss Congeniality too? She's like, I love that so much. I saw that movie for the very first time in Las Vegas, can I just tell you? Y'all simply the best. Why is this not working? I don't know. Anyway. Is my husband still up? I wonder. What is the deal? What is the dealio? Oh, there it goes. You know what I'm gonna do? Don't think I'm not. I'm gonna buy Simply the Best. I think I already own it, actually. I'm totally gonna buy it by Tina Turner. Y'all simply the best. Okay, but if you have not seen Schitt's Creek, there is a scene when the song Simply the Best by Tina Turner comes on. It's acoustic, and it's probably one of the best scenes in the entire show. I was bawling my eyes out watching it tonight. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Oh my God. I love that show so much. It's so fantastic. Okay, let's get back to some comments, shall we? Shall we, folks? Okay. Lori said, today I spent another birthday on my own, but I got through and had a decent day. I didn't try to build the pyramids, but I washed dishes. Love that. I think I needed to hear that too. I've been alone on my birthdays for the last 3 years. I am not whining. I am used to it. Lori, happiest of birthdays. Happy, happy, happy birthday, Lori. Anyway, why is it not letting me do this? I hope you had a great birthday. And if it goes to prove anything, as I'm sitting here talking about my 40th birthday and all these birthdays that I don't even remember what I did, I don't know that it really matters, you know? I will tell you something, and I think our birthdays should matter. I think our birthdays should matter, but they should matter to us. I always like to look at my birthdays as ticking off points of what do I want to achieve in the next year. That's one of the things I always ask myself. You know, when I turn 48 this year, I will sit down with a journal and I will make goals for things that I want to achieve in the next year of my life. What are things I want to do? What are things? And as I get close, I think to this. Every year for like the last 10 years, probably 5-10 years, I've thought about doing a meditation book and starting it on the first day of my birthday. A meditation book like I read every day on my Peterson's channel, you know? But doing like one simple thing that I learned every single day for a year, and then at the end of the year I would have a meditation book. For the last 5 or 10 years, I've thought that would be a real great idea, but I've never started it. And at the end of the year, close to my birthday, I always think, you'd have a completed book right now of these meditations of all these things you learned over a year, you know? I always take it as an opportunity to look at the next year and say, who do you want to be when you turn 49? Because I'll be 48 this year. You know, what do I want to happen in the next year? What things can I make happen, you know? And, I've already been thinking a lot about it, you know? Birthdays are special. They really are. But they should be to us alone, you know? I don't know that I need, and I'm just speaking for myself, I don't need a lot of fanfare, and I don't know, like when I was younger, I always thought my dad was kind of like bitter about birthdays because he'd always be like, don't do anything for my birthday, you know what I mean? But like as I get older, I kind of get it. Like, he just doesn't like a lot of the attention. I think his birthday means a lot to him, but it means a lot to him personally, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But anyway, Lori, happiest of birthdays to you. Okay, let's see. Adeline put some a blue heart and some emojis. Sue said, no one is better at making endearing, funny, hilarious content than you. Bravo, Peter. You're simply the best. Thank you. And I swear to God, I did not know that that comment was coming. But it really does say simply the best. Okay, Angelica said, reading Dead Ends got me back into using my Kindle. I also downloaded Dear Dawn to read next. Oh my God, you're going full in on the book club, aren't you, gal? I've seen one documentary on her earlier in the year, so I'm looking forward to binging others and the movie. Good. Oh, that's exciting. And then Jennifer Messina, blue hearts and emojis. Madigan said, coming up on 1 year of watching you, Peter. Watch you every day through my pregnancy and now with my baby every night. Glad I found you. Take care. Aw, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Sean! Here's Sean. Sean said, I love Schitt's Creek. I'm rewatching it for the second time. I get a kick out of David. His facial expressions are so funny. Okay, Daniel Levy, who is Eugene Levy's son that plays David on the show, and he also wrote and directed, or wrote some of the show too, and he's executive producer with his dad. His facial expressions are absolute perfection, okay? So if you've watched the show and you want to know, like, what parts of me are David, okay, the plunger scene in the store is so Alex and I, okay? Like, so Alex and I. That whole scene, like Alex will want to put something somewhere and I'll be like, well, okay, but like, don't you think it would look better over here? Like, that whole scene is so Alex and I. And when he's talking about the compromising thing, like, I'm kind of telling him myself, but like that whole compromising thing was very much like that too. It was really funny. Alex is like, oh, I'm totally David. And I'm like, just because you want to look like David does not mean that you are David, okay? Because Alex is totally 100% Alexis. But I do have to say that I love the show. Like, I don't want to say anything on here for the people that haven't seen it, right? But like, there's such endearing moments that, like, this show is so underrated. Like, it really, really is underrated. Like, there's a scene. Okay, I'm not gonna ruin it, but like with Alexis, okay? And they go to this lunch out in the middle of nowhere, you know what I'm talking about? And on the way back, it's this very poignant scene, okay? Because David and Alexis don't ever have a serious moment. Never do they ever have a serious moment. And she does something that is like very serious for him, like a really big deal. And they're in the car and he says, you're in love with him, aren't you? And she says, yes. And it is like the most poignant yes you have ever seen, because she's not decisive about anything. And it's like, there's such such sureness in her. Is that the word I'm looking for? She's just so sure in that moment, you know? And, there's so much sadness that comes with that whole situation. And like, you're watching it and you're like, this is like really, really well done writing. Like, this isn't just like random conversation, but the thing that's so wonderful about it is that it really comes across like just random conversation, because it's mixed in with this flamboyancy of Moira, the mother, Catherine O'Hara. Like, her costumes in the show are unbelievable. I mean, absolutely unbelievable. By the way, the costume designer is Deborah Hanson. I know that because every single time I look down at the iPad, it always comes up and it says costumes by Deborah Hanson. But anyway, I think it's Deborah. I think that's her name. I should look it up right now. That would be so funny if I was right. Oh my God, it's playing that song, Precious Love, right now in the background. But like, the characters in the town and everything, it's just, it's such a beautiful show. It is just such a beautiful show. And the humor, it's like the humor of everybody's kind of sad predicament of making a joke. Like, when they move into town, you know, it's kind of like the town is the joke. And then over time, it's they're the joke, not the town. And then over time, it takes the town and them to appreciate each other, to really see the beauty of life. It is this, like, the show is masterfully set up against each other. It is, I mean, it's not, you guys, this isn't just accidental writing. This is genius writing, because it comes across as absolutely effortless. It's just, it's so beautiful. I love to watch it. I just bawl and bawl and bawl watching it. I think it's so fantastic. What was I gonna watch? I was gonna look up costume designer Schitt's Creek. Watch, this will be funny. Deborah Hanson is what I said. Okay. It's something close to that, if it's not that. Costume designer Schitt's Creek. Let's see what it comes up with. Deborah Henson! Oh my God, I can't believe it. She's received nominations for Primetime Emmy Award. Okay, it goes on and on and on. Who cares? She does wear really fun clothes on the show, though, Catherine O'Hara. And they all do. Like, the costumes for the whole cast is really cool. All right, let's go on and see what else other people had to say. I'm not going to vlog for a whole lot longer, you guys, because oh my God, it's 3:11. Should we look? Should we look? Is my book out? I almost don't want to look. Oh, there it is! Oh my God, it is! I got so, did you see? I started getting so upset. And then I looked and it said Dead Ends, Horror Store, and then Camino wins! I'm so excited! I'm so excited! And I just can't hide it. I know, I know, I know. Anyway, that was my very first concert that I ever went to, the Pointer Sisters, just so you know. I think it was my very first concert I ever went to. And I remember it was like one of the very first things I ever did with my dad and my stepmom. And it was at like these tennis championships. I wonder if I could look up and see when that was. I would have been like 10 or 11. Because it was like one of the very first times I ever did something with my stepmom. And I remember she brought like all this cut up fruit and like this dip. And, to like this tennis thing. And I remember I didn't want to like her. But I did. Like she was like, we really had a good time. And I remember she was like dancing to like the Pointer Sisters and she was getting us all to jump and stuff, you know. And I remember like it was like on these, so like they performed. It must have been for like some tennis thing, but we were like on these bleachers, like these metal bleachers. And I remember we were like jumping on the metal bleachers. And she was like, come on, jump. And she was like, jump. And my dad and my stepmom called me Pete. And she called me Pete from like the get-go. I think she may have started it actually with my dad and her. And so she was like, come on, Pete, jump. And I was like jumping. And I remember like I did not want to like her. Like I did not want to get along with her. And we ended up having like a really, really good time. I actually named her cat. She had this little kitten. I hate cats, you know that. She had this little gray kitten and she was like, I need to know what to name him, and she named him. So I was like, he was gray, and I said, he looks like Flannel. Why don't you name him Flannel? And she named her cat Flannel. And Flannel ended up going to live with her sister because my dad, when she moved in with my dad's like really allergic to cats too. So anyway, I think Flannel lived to be like almost like 20 years old or something like that. Isn't that crazy? So funny thinking all the way back about that. Weird world. Weird, weird world. I feel very blessed too for like my mom. Like my mom never told me like, hate your stepmom, or I don't want you to like her, or you know, any of that kind of stuff. She never said that kind of stuff, you know. But they also didn't start dating until like way after my parents were separated. So like, and it had like, you know, she was no part of that. And I don't think like, my mom felt threatened by my stepmom only in that like, my mom was like 5 foot and big breasted, and my stepmom was like 5'11" and not. And, you know, they just were very like night and day as far as physical looks. And I think my mom was kind of, as far as that, like intimidated. But she never felt like my stepmom was her competition. And like they actually really got along. Like they were never friends. Like I wouldn't go that far. But they got along, you know. And like, especially I think I'm so thankful to my mom not feeling like, well, I don't think she wanted my dad back, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think she was really trying to get my dad back, so she wasn't really worried about who he was with, which I think is a huge thing. Do I think she missed? I think she wondered always, like, what she could have done differently in the marriage. And like, she would have been somebody that would have said for a long time that she felt like she had failed in her marriage. Like, what could she have done to be a better wife? What could she have done to save the marriage? What could they have done to save the marriage? But when it was all over, I don't think she wanted him back, you know? And, but she was never, like, intimidated or threatened by my stepmom. And I think I'm real thankful for that. It's gonna stop, hold on. Okay, oh, it's out of focus. But I'm really thankful for that, you know, because, like, when I was in junior high and high school, my stepmom, like, would pick me up on Friday, you know, after school, and she would drive me to my mom's house, and I would run inside and get my bag that I already had packed, and then, you know, like, every other Friday when I was with, you know, my dad and my stepmom, and then I would, like, come out to the car, and, like, we would leave, and my mom would come outside, and she would, like, wave to her and stuff, you know. They would talk on the phone about, like, you know, homework, and, well, when they talked about, my parents never, ever talked to me about homework, hardly. But they would, you know, like, talk, like, you know, Peter has this on such and such date, or he has that. They, like, arranged. My mom and my stepmom were the ones that arranged those rides. And, you know, to think that, like, my stepmom was so much younger than my dad. Like, my stepmom is 12 years older than me. And so, they got married when I was 12, so she would have been 24. To think that at 24, she, like, walked right into the role of a stepmother and took, like, the role very seriously, you know? I mean, she was always there, you know, if it was things to do with, like, you know, if it was any kind of, like, school function, like, she was there. Like, any kind of, like, concert or anything, she was there. Like, she was always present, and she and my mom would talk about, like, rides, and, you know, if my mom, like, couldn't pick me up for something like an orthodontist appointment, she always picked me up. I mean, it just, you know, she was a really big part of my youth growing up. And I think so much of that is because my mother chose not to pit herself against her. And I'm so thankful for that, you know? I mean, at the time, if you had asked me, some of the things that I hated were that my mom and my dad were on the same page and that my stepmom and my mom didn't fight. Like, those were things I absolutely hated at the time, right? Because my life would have been so much easier if my mom and dad never communicated, because I could have gotten away with all kinds of stuff, right? But they always communicated. So if I was grounded at one house, which I was very rarely ever grounded because my parents didn't believe in groundings, but, like, whatever, you know, like, if I was in trouble at one house, I was in trouble at the next house, you know? You know, it was always like that, so. But I'm thankful for that in retrospect, you know? Like, take 3 parents that were doing their best to kind of, like, streamline this crazy situation, and they chose not to fight, at least when it came to me, you know? And, really, like, co-parent or tri-parent with its 3, you know, they just did, you know. Now, I will also say that my stepmom never overstepped her boundaries. And I remember one time, I was probably 14, maybe I was younger than that, maybe it was when I was 12, maybe it was right after they got married. She said to me, "I don't want to be your mother, you have a mother." And I think the other thing that really helped was that my stepmother, she had, like, 2 stepfathers and a stepmother. So she was raised with step-parents as well. And so I think she knew, like, going in, what those issues were like. And I remember she sat me down. I almost feel like we went somewhere and we're having lunch or something. I can't remember, but it was like, she intentionally had this conversation with me. And she said, "I'm not your mother. You already have a mother. And I'm never going to be that. And I don't want to be that. I don't want to take that away from your mom." And then she said, "So I'm not your parent, but I'm also not your friend, and I'm never gonna be your friend. Like, you have enough friends, but I'm something in between, and I'm something special that your friends can't be and your parents can be, and that's that I'm your stepmother. And we can have a different relationship than you would have with your friends and you would have with your mother. It's a little bit, you know, more like a parent and less like a friend, but, you know, we have a special relationship." I remember she said that to me, and I always thought that that was, like, such a, I don't know that at the time I really understood it, but later, like, I would go to her with a lot of stuff. Like, "I need to talk to Dad. What do you think about this?" And, you know, she would say to me, "You know, your dad had 3 board meetings the last 2 nights, or the last 3 nights. Like, this is not the night to talk to him about it," you know? Or she would say, "Why are you, like, Pete, why are you afraid to talk to your dad about stuff like that?" I mean, she was such a good translator, and me talking to my dad when I was, you know, in high school and didn't really know how to talk to my dad about stuff, you know? And many nights, too, because my dad worked so late, you know, it would be she and I, like, she'd make dinner, and I would, you know, come over there, and, it would be us. Or if my dad was on call on a weekend, you know, she and I would rent a bunch of movies and just sit there and watch movies, or, you know, I mean, she was just really there for me, when I was growing up. And she didn't have to be. You know, she really didn't have to be. The truth of the nature is that I saw my mother's friends get divorced, and their exes got remarried, and many times to people that were to women that were much younger, like my dad had, and the women were bitches and could care less about the kids. I mean, I really lucked out. I can't tell you how many times, like, friends of my mom's would get together with their kid. We would all get together with the kids and stuff, and the kids would be like, I hate my stepmom, she's so mean, blah, blah, blah. And I'd just be like sitting there like, my stepmom's not mean. Like, they would be like, she did this and she did that, and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And, like, I never, like, had those experiences. And now my stepmom, she set boundaries. I can remember the first time I went over there to have dinner, like, after they moved into the house, or after she moved into the house, and I, like, came over, and I, like, we were done eating dinner, and I, like, just put my dish in the sink, and she looked at me, and she said, I don't know how you do things. I will never forget this. I don't know why it stuck in my mind, but she said, I don't know how you do things at your mother's house, but at our house, we rinse off a dish, and we put it in the dishwasher. That was the last time I ever just put that dish in the sink again. But, you know, she would say things to me like, there are expectations here. You're going to do your laundry. You're going to make your bed. Those expectations were the same at my mom's house, too, though. So I think it wasn't, like, a far cry for me from what's expected at home. But my parents were more concerned about me doing chores and keeping my room clean and things like that than they ever were about any homework. Caroline and I were talking about that the other day. I said, Caroline, did your parents ask you about your homework and stuff? She goes, never. She goes, never. She goes, or did she say she got, like, a tutor or something first? But then she was like, it's so funny to me in retrospect, like, that, like, nobody really, I don't know, we have very similar experiences growing up. My parents, coming from two educated people, I think that's what Caroline said, or did she say the opposite? I don't even remember now. Caroline had been talking so much. I talked to her today. We've been talking so much since this whole thing. It's been really good for us. But Caroline's always like, you're so funny. How do you remember every little thing from our childhood? She's like, I don't know how you remember everything. Like, I don't know how I do either, but I do. So what was I saying? Oh, but my stepmom. Yeah, but I feel really blessed for, you know, like, how she was. Sometimes I didn't like it. I didn't, you know. My stepmom would bust me for stuff. This was more in high school. In high school, towards the end, like, later high school, I was ruthless to her sometimes. Because she would catch me doing shit that my dad, like, she always caught me smoking cigarettes. And she'd always tell my dad. And, even though she had, like, smoked off and on, and so I don't know, but, like, she would say stuff to my dad, or if I, like, came home late and she knew and, like, my dad didn't, you know, she'd tell my dad, and she was always real upfront with me about it. She's like, I'm gonna tell your dad, like, I'm not your secret keeper, you know. So it wasn't like I didn't know that was gonna happen. But I think she just had a keener eye of what was going on, you know? I think she had... my dad was a good kid when he was in high school, you know? So, like, she was a little bit more of a partier. I think, I don't know what year she graduated in, but she was more of a partier, you know? And even though she graduated with straight A's and #1 in tennis, but she, you know, she could always catch me doing stuff. Like stealing liquor. It was always her that, like, caught me. Well, not always. I guess my dad did a couple times. But it felt like it was always her. I don't know. Anyway. And, like, most times she'd catch it before it even got out of the house. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, damn it. But, you know, that's something else, too, that I kind of remember is, like, my dad and not so much my mom, but my mom never really punished me. I don't really remember that, like, punishment kind of stuff. My dad would sit down and want to have these conversations with me, these talks, you know, like, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to, I mean, like, he didn't really, like, he would want to have these conversations with me other than, you know, like, there wouldn't be any punishment. There was no, I don't remember a lot of groundings or anything like that, but I also know that they didn't think that groundings necessarily worked. I don't think groundings work either. But I remember, you know, like, well, part of it was, like, before I could drive, if I got busted, I was just stuck there. Because my friends would have to come out and get me, you know? And my friends didn't want to drive that far because it was like 25 to 30 minutes from my mom's house. And, like, nobody wanted to drive out there, you know what I mean? So I was stuck. Anyway. The good old days. The good old days. I'm going to read one more comment, and then I'm going to sign off here early so I can listen to Camino Wins, because I'm really excited about it. All right, one more comment. Let's see. Okay, Haley said, hello, Peter. Thank you for reminding me that I can always start my day over whenever I want. As someone who is still working and dealing with upset customers, it's a nice reminder that the last person I talk to, it doesn't have to ruin the rest of my day. Absolutely, I love that. Thank you. And I can take a deep breath and start my day over and with positivity anytime I want. Love you, Peter. Stay awake, or stay safe, Wolf Pack. That was a really good comment. I love that, you know? I think sometimes our days are so affected by one negative thing that happens. It happens to me all the time. I can be like going, and it's like, boom. And then I'm just like, it's almost like I want to, like, you know, hurt myself by staying in a negative mood. You know what I mean? And it's like, why? Like, you only have one day. Let's live it and enjoy it, you know? So anyway, great. Thank you for that. I really, really appreciate that last comment. Now I actually forgot who said that. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have to go back in here. I feel like I know it in my head, but I don't want to say it. Was it? Okay, hold on a second. Let me go in here, because I want to make sure that I remembered who said this. Where is that now? Haley. I have two Haleys in here. Is this a different Haley? Okay, so thank you, Haley. And this video goes out to Haley. Haley number 1, and I think there's Haley number 2 actually in here. Prima donna girl. Haley number 1 and Haley number 2. There's 2 Haleys actually in here. There's probably more, but there's 2. So, thank you to everybody who watched this vlog. If you made it this far and you are an OG Wolfpacker, put a big blue heart in the comment section below. And Wolfpackers are those of us that are just trying to be kind and get through the day and have a good day. And also leave all different kinds of emojis in the comment section below that are really, really colorful, so that when the essential workers come to the comment section, if you're an essential worker, please look through the comment section and see all the people that love you and care about you. Thank you guys so much for watching this vlog and staying with me until the very end if you did. And it means a lot to me. I'm really enjoying these. These are helping me out so much, just as something to do at the end of the day, you know, to come out here, and they're just so cathartic for me anyway, but especially during all of this, it's been really nice, so thank you. I hope you guys are having an amazing Tuesday, unless you have other plans, but like I always say, don't have other plans. Make the most of your day. Do something fun and exciting today. Start a new show, read a new book. Could start the book club early for Eileen Wuornos, or watch a new documentary about her or something, or a movie. And yeah, and then do something that will make yourself proud when you look back on it tomorrow, or next week, or 2 weeks from now, or oh, I don't know, a year from now, or 60 years from now, or 69 years from now. Family friendly. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say, I love you, you are valuable, you are important, you matter. Just sing out all these positive affirmations for yourself every single day. And every night before you go to bed, and every morning when you get up, say to yourself, well, the night before, say tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. And when you get up, say today is going to be an amazing day. I'm going to be happy, joyous, and free all day today. And the night before, say tomorrow you're going to be happy, joyous, and free all day tomorrow. And then also give yourself an out and say, if today isn't necessarily going the way that I want it to go, I can start my day over whenever I want, just like that, just like Haley just said, you know? You don't have to determine the rest of your day based on the outcome of one situation or one negative interaction with somebody or one bad phone call or somebody cutting you off in traffic, you know? Like, let's just not let our days be ruined over that, you know? We only have but precious few on this earth, so let's appreciate them. And, positive affirmations, yeah. And then also, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and you let them know how much they mean to you every single day. And, you know, just call somebody up or text them and say, hey, I was thinking of you, hope you're doing okay. To all of you out there that are alone going through this, I want you to know my heart goes out to you. I know so many people in my personal life that are going through this alone, and I know how hard it is. So just know that I'm thinking of you, and I love you, and I care about you. Like I said, I dedicate this video to the Haleys. And also, practice random acts of kindness, but make sure that you don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone, because it's just to put good out there in the world and to do good things, right? That's the whole purpose of random acts of kindness, and just to be a nicer, better person, to feel good about things, right? And it's good to put good out there in the world. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!